I'm doing a stream here about the State of the Union. So I watched it last night, um, and it was embarrassing. The State of the Union was literally embarrassing. Um, where do I begin? First and foremost, I have to say it was just a joke. I mean, it was like I feel like at this point, our government, both sides, is a clown. They're just clowns. They're clowns. Um, I sat there and I watched Trump with his half dead ass sit up there and tell a bunch of lies. That's the most important thing. He was telling lies. He was avoiding everything that was important. Um, all the significant things. He was not telling the truth. In the current state of Mexico, in the current state of Cuba and Venezuela, and he called Venezuela. He said that was a partnership. I was just like, are you serious? A partnership? And he was talking about how he got this much gas. You're bragging on stealing people's gas. And he didn't even talk about how he's helping the Venezuelan people in any way. And I guess that's because he's not. But I mean, you would think he would at least lie on that and say, oh, I've stabilized Venezuela. The people love me. You think he'd go deeper with his lies, but he didn't. Um, he's definitely on that colonialism. And he just sat there and blatantly lied about everything, talked about the state of the economy and the beef is going down. I mean, everything he said was pretty much lies. You go in the grocery store, fucking piece of steak is goddamn $16. They're not going down. It hasn't gone down. That's a lie. He's bragging about the S&P going to 50, or what is it, the stock market going to 50,000 and he's years ahead. I don't even know what that is. I mean, hell, for all we know, you fix the market. Yeah, or you have them lie. I don't know, but it's not helping the everyday person. So many things about that State of the Union were sad. We could see the great divide between the Democrats and the Republicans, and that's because they designed it that way. They always want to look divided. Um, you had Nancy Pelosi there. I'm still confused about that. She may not be the House Speaker, but I guess she still maintains her post. I don't know. And then you have this stupid ass, replacement of her, a sad excuse for a black man. He has no power at all. Hakeem Jeffries. He's a joke. Schumer is clearly working for Israel. He is not the leader of the Democratic Party anymore. He's working for Israel. I think he's been planted there all along. Um, I think we need to watch out for Ossoff. I believe Ossoff is going to throw his hat in the pile for the presidency. And he is Jewish, and I think he will become a Jewish puppet. Um, and I think that's what they was it right? Was it? I can't remember what was Lieberman. They have not ran a Jew for president in a long time. Well, this is, I believe, going to be the time coming up for the Democrats. That's what I think. I think that's what's going to be normalized. That there's a Jewish president. I think that's what the Democrats are going to usher in, and under that, it's going to change the narrative quite a bit. That's what I believe is the next move, and I think that Ossoff, because I ain't gonna lie, here in Atlanta, I believed in Ossoff, and I campaigned for Ossoff twice, and that was for Georgia. And knowing his background, knowing him to be Jewish, I had no idea that they would try to send him to the level. But I'm not gonna lie, for him to be a nobody, he got some serious funding out of somewhere. Because the way that we campaigned for him and the money that he had to spend, it was different. There was some real power and money behind Ossoff from the beginning. I'm gonna just tell you. And I know he lost the first time, but when he won big, and he really could have won the first time. But first times just sometimes it's a trial run. But anyway, the State of the Union was very embarrassing. The way that he was talking about people being dead, he was going into the bloody this and the bullet there, and I was just like, God damn. And then we had Al Green. Al Green pulled out his sign. He always has to do. I think the Democrats put the black folks up to always show out or do something. And you notice the Democrats, they really don't give a fuck. They just sit there, folding arms. They don't care. They're all part of the game. And to see the black people in Congress, they're not picking that up. You're not noticing. You don't really get no real pushback. The motherfuckers might not stand up, but them motherfuckers is quiet. They not acting up. They not outraged. That's because they got contracts. That's because they making money too. That's the truth. And you got Jasmine out here cutting a damn monkey. You got Al Green cutting a monkey. You got all these people out here cutting up that's black, and that's because they ain't part of the in crowd. They haven't realized that Congress is there to make money. Them individual people are corrupt as hell. They all got money, and they're stock traders. That's all Congress is a bunch of people who get the inside information about what's hot, what's not, and they're trading and they're getting contracts. And the black folks in Congress just ain't up on it. They not on it, and they don't understand. That's why you see them white folks from the Democratic Party just sitting there. They don't give a damn. They just playing their role for the moment. And if just like Tulsi Gabbard, you fuck around and you one team is winning more than the other. These motherfuckers will switch teams up on you. They'll switch teams up on you. They're not dedicated to no damn particular party. They're there to get money, and they'll get money wherever they can. We saw Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she know the Democrats ain't gonna accept her. That's why she just threw the hat in. That was her option. Leave MAGA and go to the Democrats. But the Democrats is not gonna have her because she did so much. And she knew that. That's why her ass resigned. She didn't have no home. But you got to play the game. And so that's what I saw with the State of the Union. It was a very embarrassing thing. It's very embarrassing. And then you got Trump. He got this, was it transsexual kid sitting in between their parents. It's a biological girl. And for some reason, this kid decided that she was a boy, and then that kid was taken from the parents by the state. And he highlights it. Well, I don't know if people miss this, but you can see that this girl who's been, I guess in their mind, forced to be a girl because she wants to be a boy, she's still not happy about it. She still wants to be a boy. She was making all kind of gestures and looks on her face and stuff like that. Like, man, my parents got me here in this bullshit, and I don't want to be. It was cringe. It was cringe. And I'm definitely not pro trans and transitioning children. I think that shit's insane. But to highlight this young person and for the parents to think that that was a good idea, that was kind of crazy to me. The sense of privacy and shame. I really do think we got to get back to shame, because a lot of people are operating without shame. And shame is not a bad thing. Um, it makes society cooperate and act right. That's the truth. Shame makes people act right. And when I say that, I'm saying stuff like, how the Somalis, you sat there, you stealing shit, and then you turn around and ask somebody to give you some more money, and you ain't even address what you did. No shame. You see what I'm saying? We need shame in society. And we need shame. I mean, Trump's sitting there just telling bold-faced lies. No shame. None. None. Talking about we got a partnership with Venezuela. You took the damn dictator from the people. They elected him. They elected him, and he didn't want to leave, but still, they elected him. You can't just come in and just take over nobody's country, and then you want to sit there and lie about it and act like you did them a favor. You stealing their oil. You not benefiting them people. So he just had a lot of lies, and not only that, he did not address anything that people wanted to talk about and know about. You know, he didn't address Iraq. I mean, Iran. He didn't address Iran. People want to know what's going on. What are you gonna do? And he started telling all them same lies again. Oh, they got mass weapons of mass destruction, this and that same old lies. And I don't recall at any point he talked about how much money he's giving to Israel and why. He didn't bother bringing that up. He just cutting checks to Israel all day, all night, and you don't tell the people why. He bragged about how he was cutting food stamps. You didn't tell nobody also that you got a lot of people out here that are hungry, that you cutting children's food programs and was it Meals on Wheels. You ain't bragged about that. You ain't bragged about how you tore the Veterans Affairs up, and you reclassifying people and trying to take their benefits, all these veterans. And I mean, I don't expect somebody to out themselves and say a bunch of shit that's gonna hurt them. I don't expect that, but he don't even bridge the subjects. You see, he avoids the subject altogether. Most importantly, not talking about all these billions of dollars in the tariffs. Only thing he mentioned is unfortunate that the Supreme Court reversed his tariffs. He lied about that. Everybody loved tariffs All the countries love the tariff. It was just a big ass lie fest. That's what I'm saying. It was a big ass lie fest. Didn't bring up no Epstein, nothing about justice, nothing about that. I mean, he just skipped everything. Big Cap. Hey, well, good morning, Big Cap. How are you? Good morning. So that State of the Union was embarrassing. I'll tell you what else was embarrassing. Ilhan Omar sitting her sorry ass over there. Why is she still there? She needs to go. She's out of order. Her third world ass don't need to be nowhere near running nothing. That's just the truth. She has facilitated the theft of $19 million. I mean $19 billion in the state of Minnesota. That bitch is sitting up there with $30 million in her bank account. You know, all thievery. And then she got the nerve to be trying to heckle and scream and stuff. She gotta go. Why is she still there? That's the part I don't like. And so he did have a back and forth confrontation with Ilhan Omar. And he got kind of aggressive. And he's like, I'm gonna get y'all, I'm gonna get all of y'all up out of here. Don't even worry about it. So I mean, and she's just stupid. Like you that's why I said shame. You should have some shame. Why are you sitting up there making a damn shit show when you know what your people did and how you facilitated your people to, to steal from the people of the United States? And then you got the Democrats. The Democrats, but this is the part right here black folks need to pay attention to. It's going to be a short stream. I'm just reviewing some of the things that happened at the State of the Union. So you got Al Green. He's standing up there. None of these Democrats, these white folks, black folks not paying attention. None of these white folks is outraged. They're not cutting the fool. They part of the program. This is one side of the wing of the bird. They're on the same team and they pretending for our benefit. And at this point, I'm not even convinced that, uh, that voting matters anymore. I'm not even convinced because Trump has been saying over and over so much. You don't have to worry about voting again. You don't have to worry about voting again. Once you vote this year, you ain't got to worry about voting again. I believe this shit is going to be fixed if it hasn't been already going forward. Electronic, AI, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I think that they are going to choose who they want among the elite and make us have the delusion that we actually counted and we mattered. That's what I think, and I think it's all just going to be a damn joke. So I have lost voter confidence or the idea that voting matters. I have lost that. Like authentically, really believe that every vote means something. After that bastard came to Georgia and he said, "I need," like he ordering some pizza, right? Ordering pizza. I need 12,000 something something votes. What the fuck do you mean you need? He meant procure it because you can. Cat's out the bag. Cat is out the bag. Okay. And for the last, what, 15 years, there has been questions about voting. How somebody win the popular vote but lose the election. I mean, it's just the electoral college. All of it's scrambled. And we'll be foolish to think that this is 100% voter driven. Mm-mm. Um, and I've even seen it on the local election. I have seen in the local election for a school board that the votes didn't go a certain way, and we got a call. And the next thing you know, the person got elected for the job was superintendent. They got a call, I believe, from Governor Kemp. Next thing you know, they talking about, "Ooh, we made a mistake. Take the votes back." Couldn't take the votes back, so they just said, "Well, you hired and by motion, but we firing you in the same damn session." One call, that's all. These elites run shit the way we don't think it works. One governor called, and before that session was over to elect a new superintendent, he was hired by vote and he was fired by vote. Have you seen some shit like that? Have you seen some shit like that? I'm telling you, these motherfuckers is calling in who they want to win. It's a fact. I have seen it in real time. So I don't have that much belief that that's why I'm not campaigning no more. I'm not doing no campaign fundraising no more. I'm not helping nobody. I'm not hitting the streets. I'm not doing voter organization. I'm not doing no team building and training and street teams and get out the vote. I ain't doing shit. I ain't doing shit because I can see it. I can clearly see a lot of people is playing in our faces. But that State of the Union was a joke. It was a fucking joke. So you got the Democrats over here on the right. They done bought in. They paid. They all APAC. All of them in the building is APAC. That's why the whole Jewish issue never came up, not one time. That's the conversation we need to be having. That's the real conversation Americans need to be having. Skipped over that completely. How we got an outside entity running our budget, running how we spend our money, running how we allocate our fucking government as far as resources in terms of the Department of Defense and our military. That's the conversation that needed to be had. That's the shit that people want to hear about. That we're not going into another war on behalf of some other country that's got a problem because they can't sit the fuck down and leave people alone. We got to spend our money. We're not talking about the debt, the trillions of debt. We're not talking about the Epstein files. And is there going to be some justice? And who's Epstein now? Is this shit still going on? Are y'all still doing the same shit? And who's investigating? None of that. All he don't want to talk about now. All he doing is just lying and lying and lying. Oh, the cost of if this is down, the cost is that down. Da 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 da. Just lying. We sat up there and watched this man just lie. And everything that people actually care about, he avoided. Election integrity, midterms coming up. We want to talk about that. We want to know. We know you're gonna still lie, but shit, you could at least address it. He's not addressing nothing that's fucking important. You understand? And that right there is just it just puts a bitter taste in your mouth. A little hope is gone with each of these things. Every time we observe our government not functioning, not working. Now, one of the things that visually we could see is all of the Democrats, they sat down. And the part where I feel like they should have stood up symbolically, even if you just fucking acting and lying, was the part when he said, who supports that America is for American people? These motherfuckers sat down. They sat down. And in order to drive the point home, they had an extended applause. They had an extended applause among the Republicans. The Democrats literally sat down. It was embarrassing. So you literally got a party that will not stand up and say that America is for American people. Are you fucking kidding me? And you know what I saw in that? I saw a betrayal. I was like, black folks, look at the Democratic Party. They letting you know you are an American. They letting you know that they want somebody outside of this country. They want immigrants to take over and to run shit and to replace your black ass. I hope black people saw the Democrats sitting down when they talked about America is for Americans. And none of them stood up, refused to stand up. That shit is embarrassing. That is a global embarrassment. Every country that's looking at that should say, what stupid people. If you can't be, should be the fact that America has to benefit the Americans who are born here. How can you be against that? Why are you in Congress if you don't represent the Americans that built this country? Why are you here? So basically, what they were saying, and you know, that includes the naturalized citizen, right? Whether we like that or not, that includes the people. So basically, what you're telling me is my citizenship don't mean shit. That my work and my tax dollar, everything I contribute, if we serve in war, that is an insult to everybody who ever served this country. That's an insult to our military. I was so insulted, I didn't know what to do. I could not believe that. And I said, you know what? These motherfuckers is here for their own personal gain. If I ever was convinced of it, it was that moment. How dare you be a member of Congress and he say that America is here to support the American people? Now, was that some Jewish shit? They don't want to be mistaken for saying that you know Israel is entitled to our money. Is that what that was? Or was that we exchanging the immigrants for the niggas and all the rest of y'all? We gonna focus on feeding immigrants and fuck Americans. I want an explanation for that. I was offended. Because if I'm in my own country paying taxes and living in my own country where I have a history and stuff, and we got half of our Congress that literally says that America don't have to benefit Americans, that's a problem. All them motherfuckers need to go. Both sides are rotten. And that's what I saw yesterday. Both sides are rotten to the core. One side is racist and hateful. They're a bunch of liars, pedophiles, and corrupt people. And then you got the other side. They don't give a damn. They don't have no principles. They want to promote gay shit. They want to promote strange, weird cultures and stuff. And they want to bring in immigrants to take over and filter out anybody American. I mean, what's left? What's fucking left of the country? What is this? Just a war factory? That's what we are, a war factory? A country that just fights and fucks with people? It don't stand for nothing no more. And if I was ever crystal clear about that, it was yesterday. Crystal clear. The whole damn State of the Union was a fucking joke. It was a fucking joke. I usually watch it and just be like, oh, okay. But yesterday they made me mad. They definitely made me mad. They made me mad because I'm just embarrassed for America. I'm so embarrassed. It shows you how far we have fallen. And this motherfucker sitting up there, he done stole so much money. He done benefited so much from the American people. He's just running scams and schemes, and he's just fucking up. And there's no checks and balances, you know. And that's the problem. This country is not functioning the way it was designed, and it's really sad. And it's in your face, and you can't look away. You can't pretend. But I think black people need to really, really understand the Democratic Party, the Republicans, and the conservatives. We know they ain't shit. We already know this. They ain't shit. But the Democrats, we need to see them equally as stupid and fucked up. And for them to sit up there and not agree that America is for Americans, black people, we have been betrayed. It's going to take a while for us to probably figure that out, that we've been traded in for the immigrants. They don't give a fuck about us. We need to stop voting. We need to stop voting by party. And I don't suggest no MAGA. I don't suggest no conservatism. We got to do something new, something different. We got to, because they don't respect us. They just don't. They do not respect black people. They don't respect our vote. And reparations is, like I said, something that could easily be done. You need us so bad. What put them reparations up there, right? Joe Biden had both. He had the House. He had the Senate. He had everything lined up. He got it all. And that right there should have been a wake-up call. They got money for everybody. Oh, they can come up with $60 billion to send to Israel, but they can't come up with $60 billion for no reparations. You see what I'm saying? They write checks to any and everybody that ain't American, that ain't built this country, that ain't paid for nothing, that ain't gave time, hasn't served, don't got no blood in the soil. Oh, they can cut a check real quick for anybody else. They can give money to South America. They give all the money to Ukraine. Oh, they got money for that. But as soon as a Negro says, excuse me, what about my 40 acres and a mule? Mouths are quiet. People are angry, grumbling. We don't want to talk about that. What are you talking about? But they got all the money for war. Y'all see that? They don't give a fuck about us. We have to stop voting for the Democrats. We're going to have to make people see us. We can sit it out. And when I say vote, I'm not saying that the vote fucking matters. I'm talking about us putting our time, our energy behind them, behind anybody. They got to start earning our energy. Let me put it that way, because I'm not sure that voting even matters. But on the local, at the state level, and the federal level, we got to stop putting our money, our time, and our energy. That's why I said I'm not pounding pavement no more. I'm not training voter registration. You see what I'm saying? I run around every election registering voters. I'm not doing that shit no more. I go house to house. I train teams. I was training teams for the Democratic Party. Not one election has gone by in the last 20 years I have not gotten active. Training people, going to all kind of workshops, flying here, going there, sitting in warehouses. They didn't rent it for a campaign, doing call banking and shit. I was a fucking slave. I was putting all my time, energy later for that. No more. In the hot sun, 8 hours a day, going door to door, knocking on the door, doing call banking. You know, I've gotten paid for a lot of my work, but I'm just saying, fuck all that. Later for that. We got to stop giving them our time, our energy, our effort, our fundraising, our skills. We got to stop pouring into the Democrats because they do not respect us. The Republicans don't respect us either. So I don't know if the answer is being apolitical or our own political or forming something else. I don't know what the answer is, but it can't be following behind the Democrats. They have traded us in for the immigrants. I'm just telling you. They have traded us in for the immigrants. And all you gotta do is look at Minnesota, and you look at that. They actually are stealing money from the kids with special needs. They're stealing money from all these resources of people who need it, American citizens, and don't nobody in the Democratic Party give a fuck. They don't care. They are coming into the black communities and they are taking the resources. And it don't affect me because all them benefits and stuff like that, I don't need food stamps. I don't need housing vouchers. But I'm calling a spade a spade. I'm not finna lose shit because I pay my own fucking mortgages, you know? I pay for my own fucking food. I'm not gonna lose. But I'm talking about people who are in poverty in the black community who need these resources. They need Medicaid, they need Medicare, they need food and meals on wheels and stuff like that. They need the funding. You got immigrants that are hustling the system and they are stealing the resources and not delivering shit. And the Democrats sit around like it's not a problem. Better watch your back. That's what I gotta say, Ashe.